Welcome today. We're going to start on our backs, and we shouldn't need too many props for this very first part of the practice, but let's get ourselves something to make our head and neck comfortable. So a pillow or a neck roll, find something to support your cranium. Take that to the back edge of your mat, and then have your strap within reach. And we're going to start just right down on our backs with bent knees if we can. So flat on your back. Little support, either a little neck roll, rolled up towel or blanket behind your neck, or something behind your head if that makes you feel more comfortable. And then perhaps you stretch your arms out and down to Shavasana, or perhaps you rest your hands on your belly. See what feels good, what feels comfortable in the moment. And take a deep, slow breath in and a deep, slow breath out. So as you settle into your breathing, I'm going to just tell you a quick story. This was years ago. Years ago, one of my yoga students said to me, "I really wish you wouldn't talk so much about anatomy when you're teaching yoga." He's like, "It distracts me from the experience of the sacred and the divine." And in his mind, anatomy is too mundane for the mystical experience he was hoping to have in a yoga practice. Now, yoga can be an extremely profound, deep, and spiritual practice. But in my estimation, this student was missing a huge component of yogic philosophy, which is that there's really no division between the sacred or the special and the mundane or the ordinary. And part of the philosophy of yoga is trying to appreciate in the smallest moment, in your next slow, deep breath as it comes in through your nose and into your lungs. And then as you exhale and that breath moves out of your lungs, moves out through your nose. Notice and appreciate what is awe-inspiring about that tiny little moment. It reminds me of the William Blake poem, The Auguries of Innocence, where he says, "To see the world in a grain of sand." He writes, "To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour." Now, you might not have ever considered seeing eternity in your hamstrings or in your kidneys, but that's our focus today. This is part 3 of kind of a series I've been working on for lower back health. But if you've ever experienced lower back pain, you know that an eternity can be an hour. Low back pain is no small thing. Slowly pick your feet up and hug your knees in. And gently rock yourself side to side. So when I talk about anatomy in our yoga practice, I'm not trying to distract you from the meditation of yoga. In fact, I'm trying to encourage you deeper into that meditation by really paying attention to your body. Good. Now, one more rock like that, side to side. And then set your feet down on the ground and rest your hands on your belly. We're going to do a few slow pelvic tilts. Inhale, tilt your pelvis forward, a gentle arch away from the ground. Exhale, relax first, squeeze your belly down, flatten your low back into your mat. And forward and back, gently and slowly. This is a staple for me for low back and pelvis health, but it's something you'd encounter for certain if you ever did physical therapy for a low back pain or strain or injury, or for rehabilitation of a pelvic injury. They're simple movements, but feel the interconnection between your spine, especially your lower spine, as it slowly peels away from the mat into that little bit of an arch. And then as it connects more deeply, feel that connection between your spine and your abdominal muscles and organs. So the surface of your abdomen, you have layers of muscles, but inside your internal organs can be disturbed by muscular pain and strain. And in particular, I want us to think about our kidneys today. Imagine how you are from the back side of your body, gently massaging your kidneys into the mat as you exhale, and moving them away from the mat for a moment as you inhale. Let's feel that again. Your kidneys, right at the top of your kidneys, your adrenal glands, where your stress hormones are produced. Low back pain or strain and stress often go hand in hand. So this is a nice way of releasing some muscular tension with these pelvic tilts, but also coaxing your adrenal glands into a bit of a calmer state. Now after your next slow pelvic tilt, finish it up completely without rushing. Exhale everything out. And then pick your right foot up and hang on behind your right thigh. If you can't comfortably reach, go ahead and put a strap around your thigh. As you inhale, now gently straighten your right leg just until you start to feel some hamstring stretch. And as you exhale, bend that knee all the way in and squeeze with your hands against your thigh to pull your knee a little closer towards your belly. So inhale, straighten up slowly again. Try not to rush your breath. And exhale, bend. This is a single wind relieving pose. Pull in a little bit. Feel the pressure, especially on the right side of your lower back. So go ahead and keep moving like that at your own pace into a hamstring stretch and then into a little hip flexor engagement, deepening that sense of connection between your lower back, especially on the right, and the mat. Good. Relax your shoulder blades. Feel the interconnection between your whole back, not just your lower back, but your entire back and the mat. Feel that connectedness. Good. Let your breath be the most important thing going on, and then the movement in your body follows your breath. Good. Got one more round like that now. Nice and slow. These dynamic pulses are really great for slowly coaxing more mobility into your hamstrings. Now we're going to change sides. Set your right foot down, pick your left foot up, and when you're ready, inhale, straighten that left leg gently up. Exhale, bend and squeeze in. Good. Slow it down. Try not to rush and try to be present for this. Move your mind down into your left leg, the back of your leg especially as you inhale and straighten up. And then into your lower back and into the front of your hip and thigh as you exhale. Let your mind wander through your body and notice the effects of these rhythmic, dynamic pulses. Good. You might find that you're getting a little bit looser there as you repeat. Showing up and just moving your body through a range of motion is 90% of the battle in a yoga practice. Good. Almost there. We've got 2 more rounds here, nice and slow. Be as gentle as you need to. Always see where it feels good to challenge yourself. Good. Drop that left foot down. Widen your feet out toward the edges of your mat. Knees are bent. Open your arms like an airplane, and we're going to windshield wiper. Inhale, sway your knees to the right. Turn your chin to your left shoulder. Exhale, sway your knees to your left. Turn your chin to your right shoulder. Side to side like that with your breath. Good. It's often in the smallest, most ordinary, most mundane moments that we might have a deep moment of clarity or an epiphany, realization. Sometimes it happens on the yoga mat, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes on the yoga mat, it's just regular and ordinary without beams from heaven opening up and suddenly helping you to release mental tension, emotional tension, and physical tension. But if you never show up to the mat, then there's less and less likelihood that you will have those moments of breakthrough. Let's finish another round like that, side to side, knees to the right, knees to the left. And then when you come back to center, pick your feet up again, hug your knees in, give yourself a gentle rock side to side. Good. Now, set your left foot down and find your strap. We're going to get a little deeper into those hamstrings. Put your strap over your right foot and gently straighten your right leg up toward the ceiling. Good. So we've already done a little bit of work to open up your hamstrings and glutes and your calf muscles a little bit back of the leg. But you still may not be getting in as deeply as possible quite yet. So back off where you need to so you feel like the stretch you're feeling is reasonable, manageable, and you can relax into it. If you're very comfortable, consider straightening your left leg out on your mat now, as long as you can relax the front of your left hip across your hip crease and your low back doesn't give you any negative feedback. Now we're going to hold here for a few more breaths. Shoulder blades connected to the mat if possible, even though one or both of your arms might be working. There's lots of ways to hold a yoga strap in this particular pose, this reclined hamstring pose. I like to walk my hands up the strap and hold as close to my foot as possible without losing the connection between my shoulder blades and the mat. And then I wind my hands around the strap once or twice so that I don't have to grip so hard with the strength of my hands and fingers. And then the weight of my arms hangs a little bit on the strap and holds my foot in place. So you could certainly choose another method, but breathe as deeply as you can. About 2 more breaths here. Hamstrings can be slow to open. They have very thick muscle fibers as a result of all the walking around and standing and moving in your life that you do. Now, we are going to, if your hands are wound up around the strap, unwind them. We're going to shift into what I call metronome leg, very slowly and gently. Hold the strap in just your right hand. Inhale, tilt your right leg out and open to the right until you feel some resistance from perhaps the inseam of your leg. And as you exhale, bring that leg back up to center and just a tiny bit, lean your leg to the left. It's kind of a tilted metronome. It's not perfectly even. So your leg will go a lot farther to the right. Let's do it again. Inhale, tilt, open to the right. Try to keep your left hip down, even just a little bit. And as you exhale, bring your leg up and tilt it. Might be as little as 6 inches or as much as a foot or so to the left. Good. So we'll go side to side. Take your time and breathe deeply and just explore a little bit. Could be a tiny motion feels better to your body today. Or it could be a little bit deeper, moving into those muscles, not just in your hamstrings, inner and outer hamstrings, but also in your inner and outer hip socket and those muscles of your outer hip. As your leg moves across the midline, there's a good chance you feel your IT band getting a bit of a lengthening. Your IT band's not a muscle, it's a tendon, but it can get deeply intertwined with the muscles of your outer hip and thigh and your outer knee and cause a lot of tension. So loosening up around that IT band will help your IT band to get a little quieter, not so noisy. Really feel. The point of my anatomy talk is to help you get connected to your body so that your mind isn't somewhere else. It's here in this moment. So let's take one more round like that, nice and slow, just observing what you feel. When you come back to center this next time, bend your knee, take your strap off. Set your right foot down, straighten both legs out if you can, and jiggle your legs around a little bit. Feel the difference in your 2 legs. If I were to take a look at the length of your legs right now, your right leg would almost certainly be a little bit longer than your left leg. We let go of a lot of tension in our joints and in our muscles. Let's change sides. Bend your knees and pick your left foot up. Send your strap over your left foot. And straighten up. We're going to start with our static hamstring stretch for a moment. So, gentle stretch. Your right foot starts flat on the floor and it might stay that way, but as you settle in, if you feel very comfortable, you could straighten your right leg out and lengthen it on your mat. And then find a way of holding your strap that makes sense to your body. If you want to give my version a try, I'm holding one end of the strap in each one of my hands, so both of my arms are reaching up, holding as close to my foot as possible, but then I slide down a little bit and wind my hands once or twice around the strap. And then I can let my arms hang a little bit. Allows me to relax a little bit more in my upper back and shoulders. If that works for you, give it a try, and then breathe deeply. All the way in through your nose, almost as though you could breathe right down into the back of your left leg. All the way out through your nose. Try to visualize letting go of tension. Not just in your left leg, hamstring, calves, glutes, but in your lower back as well. This is one of the best poses you can do for alleviating low back tension that's connected to hamstring tension. Because you're on your back on the mat, you don't have to use very many of your muscles to hold you here. Just a limited amount of effort that it takes. So let go where you can let go. Use just enough effort to get the job done. We'll take another slow, deep breath here. All the way in, all the way out. And then if your hands are wound up, unwind them, hold the strap just in your left hand. We're going to slowly tilt it open to the left, inhale until you feel resistance, and then come on up. You can change hands on the strap if you like. It's up to you. Lean your leg a little across to the right. So back and forth, inhale, challenge that in-breath to be as long and slow as possible. And the same with your out-breath as your leg comes up and moves across. We're not trying to whip that leg back and forth quickly. We need to move really slowly and conscientiously. So back and forth. And then listen to the feedback of your body. If you get in there too deep, you may find some unpleasant tugging in your back or in your low belly or your pelvis, especially on the right side. So stop yourself shy of feeling like you're straining. It does not need to be your deepest stretch in the world, especially these dynamic movements. They will, over time, as you repeat them, they will create transformation slowly and steadily. Sort of the turtle and the hare. This is the turtle. Slow and steady wins the race. Breathing deeply and be here with your hip, with your hamstrings, with your inner and outer leg. 2 more pulses like that. Good. And 1 more now. Deep, slow breath to accompany it. Whenever you get done, bend your knee, take your strap off, set your left foot down, straighten both legs out, give your legs a little jiggle, a shake, a windshield wiper flop there, side to side. And then stretch your arms overhead, interlace your fingers, turn your palms back if you can, take a deep breath in, and sigh it out through your mouth. Unwind, bring your arms down, bend your knees, lift your feet, hug your knees in, take a rock side to side. Good. And then rock yourself up to sit. Now we're going to transition for one pose onto our bellies. And I don't have a name for this pose, so if you think of a good one, let me know. I'm always looking for good names for my poses. We're going to use a pillow or a bolster for this one, and you're going to take your pillow or bolster onto your mat a little bit more toward the back edge of your mat. You can start by kneeling behind it, You shouldn't need any other props unless when we get down here you feel some discomfort in your head or your chest, and then have a blanket hanging out so you can support yourself. The rest of your mat cleared off. Now, just so you can see, the bolster here is going to come across the front of your thighs once you come down. So it's not under your pelvis. Try not to put your pelvis on it, but your pelvis should barely hang off. So your bolster is under your thighs. And then lower yourself down so that you're resting down on your chest. If you feel this is a little bit of a back bend, so if you are sensitive to back bends, put a blanket under your front ribs or partway under your belly for extra support. And then find a way to rest your head so that your neck is as comfortable as possible. You could make a pillow with your hands, stack your hands, stack your forearms. You could rest your forehead down or rest on your chin, or you could turn your head to one side, whatever feels good. Now, notice you should feel the pressure of the bolster on your thighs, but not on your pubic bones. Your pubic bones should be hanging off that bolster, your pelvis hanging off the bolster. And so what we're doing is using gravity to encourage our lower back to sink down toward our belly and our belly to sink down toward the mat. Good. Now, notice if your thighs are externally rotated. In other words, if you have sort of a duck shape going in your feet with your toes pointed out to the side and your heels pointed in toward the midline, if that's happening, try to adjust your thighs so that your knees and toes point down. Little internal rotation in your thighs will help you relax your sacrum right at the back of your pelvis. Now start to breathe a little bit deeper, and there's one more option here which will deepen the experience. So don't do this if you're already feeling like this is pretty deep, but if you'd like to bend your knees and cross your ankles, the shortening there of your hamstrings will lengthen the front of your hips and thighs even more, and that lengthening will pull a little bit more length into the front of your belly, the front of your lower back. So only if it's comfortable. Now take a really deep breath in and expand your belly, expand your ribs, expand your chest, and a really deep breath out. Relax. Do that again, but notice as you expand your belly again, your belly starts expanding as you inhale. But by the time you get to the top of your inhalation, your belly has drawn in again. So exhale, relax. Empty out your chest, your ribs, your belly, and try to feel that again. Inhale, your belly starts expanding, but by the time your chest has expanded all the way and the top of your lungs are full, your belly has drawn in a little bit again. That's a function of how your breathing diaphragm moves as you breathe, but feel that expansion of your belly and then the drawing back in of your belly at the top of your inhalation is a really amazing massage internally for your lower back and for your kidneys. So let's try just a few more breaths like that, as deeply as you can. Breathe all the way in. Breathe all the way out. Breathe all the way in. And all the way out. Let's give it one more try. Breathe all the way in. All the way out. Now, if your knees are bent, straighten out your legs. Bring your hands push-up style next to the side of your rib cage. Tighten your core in and push yourself up to hands and knees. Now, move your pillow or your bolster off to the side. Option number 1, child's pose. Hips back to your heels, bow down. Option number 2, get onto your pelvis, swing your legs across. You can use your pillow or bolster behind your thighs, and then fold over your legs that way. So either child's pose, perhaps widening your knees a little bit, hips back to your heels, or seated with your legs out over your pillow or bolster as an option, and then bowing forward. Breathe and re-lengthen your back muscles. Even if your hips don't go all the way back to your heels, don't force them, but do bow down the best you can. cultures where bowing is really common tend to have much lower rates of lower back pain than cultures where bowing is not common. Child's pose is a good one to put in your repertoire if your low back gives you trouble. Let's try just a couple more slow, deep breaths like that. All the way in as you inhale. All the way out as you exhale. Good. One more now. Breathe all the way in. Breathe all the way out. Good. Come on up for a moment to hands and knees. We're going to make our way back down onto our backs. So let's pull our neck roll across again, or our pillow across. And as we come on down now, have your thicker pillow or your bolster over to the right side of your mat and your spare blanket over on the left side of your mat. And then come on down onto your back. So we are going to do a little pigeon pose here that will take us into a spinal twist. So once you're on your back with knees bent, cross your right ankle over your left knee. And then if you have a stretch right away in your right outer hip, stay as you are. And if you don't have a stretch, pick your left foot up. You can slide your pillow under your left foot, or you can reach up with your hands or use a strap to hold on to your left leg. Good. So once you pull in, find a stretch, a gentle stretch for your outer right hip, and breathe into it. Pigeon, again, massages our lower back, our entire back, but especially our low back by putting a little pressure on our lower back and getting it to connect to the floor a little bit more deeply. These outer hip muscles, when they get tight, they can pull on your pelvis in a way that causes your pelvis to change its relationship to your lower back. And that changed relationship can put pressure on your lower back, where that pressure over time builds up and leads to pain. So breathe as though you could breathe through your lower back, especially on the right side, and directly into your right outer hip. And as you exhale and feel your breath receding, relax your right outer hip up through your lower back on the right, and then watch your breath move all the way out of your lungs, out through your nose. Stay connected to each breath in the moment the best that you can. Take about 2 more like that, as deeply as you can. Good, and 1 more. All the way out. Good, and then set your left foot down and take a moment to uncross your legs and stretch your legs out long, and give your legs a moment to process that pigeon stretch. You can jiggle them a little bit. I like to move my legs around a little bit, encourage some blood flow to come back in. And then bend your knees again. We're going to do that right side again, but we're going to cross, if we can, all the way over. Right thigh all the way over your left thigh. So your inner thighs are touching and your right foot's dangling there off to the left. If that's not comfortable, uncross your legs. Now, shift your hips to the right an inch or 2 and tilt your knees to the left, possibly finding a blanket to prop underneath your knees. Then reach over to the right. You should have your pillow or your bolster over there. And you can pull either the long edge or the short edge of your pillow or bolster up against the back of your pelvis and your low back a little bit. However it feels best, so that you can lean back against it a little bit. Reach your right arm out to the right. Turn your chin a little to the right if you can. You may need to adjust your upper back to the left just slightly to encourage your right shoulder to drop down. Now, if you're feeling any tugging, twisting can be tricky for lower back pain or strain. So if you're feeling any lower back tugging that's unpleasant, first try uncrossing your legs. Try letting your legs slide apart so that your hips are rocking back more instead of tilting so far over to the left. And then you can always find an extra prop to slide between your knees. That extra support in between your thighs can often do the trick. But now breathe deeply all the way around your waist. Inhale fully. Exhale, relax all the way around your waist. Exhale completely. Going with those slow, deep breaths. Simply by paying close attention, you can start to find patterns of excess stress, excess muscular tension that aren't serving you, that you don't need anymore, that you can start to chip away at. Let's finish up one more slow deep breath here. When you get done, nudge your pillow back out to the right a little bit, uncross your legs if they're crossed, rock back onto your back. Shift your hips to center, pick your feet up, hug your knees in, rock a little bit side to side. And then widen your knees a little bit away from each other. Inhale with your hands on your kneecaps, move your knees forward until your arms are straight. And exhale with wider knees, squeeze your knees back in. Inhale, move your knees away from you. And exhale, squeeze back in. Take a couple more rounds like that. Move your knees away and squeeze back in. And one more like that. Knees move away. And then they squeeze back in. Set your feet down, cross your left ankle over your right knee when you're ready, and we have our second side pigeon. So you might slide your pillow underneath your right foot to elevate your legs just a little bit, or you might be able to pick your right foot up and hang on somewhere either behind your right thigh or around the front of your shin. So once you find a gentle stretch for your left outer hip, start to breathe and feel and let go. Let go where you can let go. Encourage your breath to move into your lungs completely and feel how that expands your belly, your low back, even as far down as your left outer hip. Encourage your breath to leave your lungs fully, completely. And with each exhalation, watch how your body starts to change. It can be imperceptible at first, but if you pay close attention, you can start to feel your left outer hip changing. Start to feel lengthening in your lower back, a release in your left hip joint, inner joint as well as outer joint. Even when you can't see transformation happening in your hip, feel it with your breath, the connection between your mind and your body. Almost there on this side, about 2 more breaths. Last one. And then right foot comes down. We're going to give ourselves a quick break. Uncross your legs, straighten them out for a moment, and let them extend. Let some blood come back in. Relax the muscles and nerves, your bones, your joints. And then bend your knees again. Cross your left thigh all the way over your right thigh if you can. Shift your hips a little to the left. Let's go ahead and switch our props around so that our blanket comes to the right and our pillow or our bolster comes over to the left. Once that's in place, then you can tilt your knees to the right and support your knees with the blanket, uncrossing your legs if you need to get more comfortable. And then pull one end, whichever feels better to your body, the short edge of your pillow or the long edge up to the back of your pelvis and perhaps a little bit of your low back. So play with these props until you feel supported. Your legs are supported as they tilt to the right. Your hips and back are supported, tilting to the left. Reach your left arm open to the left if you haven't already. Turn your chin to your left a little bit. And breathe deeply. By paying attention to your breath, you start to declutter the space in your mind. And that decluttering, that staying focused on just the simple task at hand. Breathing and resting in your spinal twist. That decluttering, that simplicity, start to create a really profound sense of peace and relaxation. It's in those moments sometimes when you do feel a connection to the wonder, the awe, the mystery that is being alive, being in your body in this moment. But it starts with the ordinary. It starts with this next breath in this moment. As mundane as it is. We'll finish up one more breath like that. And then move your props a little bit so you have room to rock back to center. Uncross your legs, shift your hips to center, hug your knees in and rock just gently side to side. And we'll finish up with 3 circles. Circle your knees around. Circular massage for your back, and change the direction when you've done 3. And we've made it to our final relaxation, so go ahead and grab your pillow to pull behind your legs, a really useful way to add extra support for your lower back. And then you choose legs straight out over your pillow, or find a little inner thigh opening during Shavasana, butterfly in your legs, if you like. Either one is great. Arms come out and down a little bit. Rest on the backs of your arms, backs of your hands if you can. And then fidget as much as you need to for the moment to get settled. And then see if you can let a sense of stillness come over your body and over your mind. Take a slow, deep breath in. A slow, deep breath out, and feel the back of your body sinking down into your mat. Imagine that you are a pebble that has been dropped into a pond, and you're slowly sinking down through the cool, clear water. Each exhalation you take takes you a little bit deeper down, until finally, like that pebble, you've settled down into the silt, the sand, the bottom of the pond. Imagine that, like that pebble, your body is starting to make an impression in the ground underneath you. As you settle into stillness, your body feels heavy and relaxed. You're no longer using any effort to hold yourself up. Feel the freedom of your breath rising and falling in your inner body. Ripple effect that rising and falling of your breath has on your outer body. Inner body expanding as you inhale. Feel the pressure toward your outer body at the very top of that inhalation. And as you exhale and feel your breath leaving your body, feel first your outer body relaxing. And then toward the end of that exhalation, feel your inner body relaxing. Even as I become silent for a few minutes, stay present in your body and with your breath. And now take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and sigh it out through your mouth. And gently begin to wake yourself up. If your knees are wide, draw them together, stretch your legs out straight first, and then move your fingers and your toes a little bit. And start to circle your wrists around, your ankles around, change the direction. Gently, loosely stretch yourself out, arms overhead. Take a deep breath in, straighten your legs a little straighter, and out through your mouth when you're ready. Bring your arms down, bend your knees slowly, and roll all the way over to one side. Use a blanket or your arm to support your head for a moment. And take one more deep breath in, out through your mouth, and use the strength of your arms to bring yourself up to a seat. Once you've come all the way up, sit up tall. Feel that stillness still in your body and your mind. And inhale, stretch your arms out. Exhale, hands to your heart. Namaste.